We'll open this hearing. I'll begin by reading the notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the following will be held in the Bonneville County Courthouse, 605 North Capitol Avenue, November 1st, 2023 at 2:40 p.m. by the Bonneville County Commissioners for the purposes of public hearing in relation to the application by Curtis and Jerry Ward for a rezone from A1 to agriculture G1, grazing zones to RA2 and RA3 residential agriculture zones. It's generally located on 1333 Odyssey Drive, Idaho Falls, including land on the east side of Odyssey Drive, land located to the north of Odyssey Drive, which is west of Foothill Road, property on the east side of Foothill Road, south of Valverde Street. This was published
say this is certain years.
October 17th, 2023 in the Post Register. Those present are members of the Planning and Zoning staff, all three county commissioners, and a few members, I think, representing the owners. So to begin with, Michelle, is this you're going to present the overview?
Yes. So Michelle Hagan, this is an application by Connect Engineering on behalf of the wards for a zoning map amendment. Proposed rezone request is from the G1 and A1 zones to an RA2 and an RA3 zoning districts. The request includes land on the east side of Odyssey Drive and land located to the north of Odyssey, which is west of Foothill Road, and property on the east side of Foothill Road, south of Valverde. The request consists of 77 acres, approximately. The land use for the property and surrounding area is rural residential. As you can see on this slide, the green, the darker green. The property is zoned A1 and G1. The surrounding zones include the RA3, which is to the east and to the south. And then you have A1 and G1 zones. We have some area subdivisions. Those are the Rimrock Estates and McDaniel subdivision, and then Quail Ridge Estates is further south, and they are located within the jurisdiction of the city of Ammon. This application proposes the RA2 to be located on the west side of Foothill Road, and the RA3 zone is proposed to be on the east side of Foothill Road. The proposed RA2 zoning district allows for single-family dwellings with a 1 acre minimum lot size. Complete list of those uses are in the staff report. The proposed RA3 zone requires 2.5 acre minimum lot size and 150 foot lot width minimum requirement. The utilities such as individual wells and septic systems will be subject to proposed lot sizes and the number of lots, which will come when a subdivision plat is submitted for review. Excuse me. The county has required an average density of lots to be maintained in the rural residential areas. When the average density typically goes below 1/5, a community system has typically been required, such as a water system. The comprehensive plan has the compatibility decisions that should be considered in all rezone or map amendments. Public Works Director did not provide comments regarding the proposed rezone. However, there are comments from the original application that was heard in July with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and those were included in your packets. The Planning and Zoning Commission held 2 public hearings on the property. The first hearing was on July 26, 2023, which the request was to rezone all the property to RA2. And then we had to have a second public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that occurred on September 27th, 2023, with the amended application to the current request that has been presented. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval with a unanimous vote with the following conditions. So 1, there needs to be adequate water rights for the lots. 2, comply with requirements from Public Works. 3, a floodplain study will be required. And the developers are already working with the floodplain administrator on that. 4, plating will be required, including a master plan for the area. And then an overall average density of 2.5 acres per lot for the project. And I have nothing further. Are there questions for me?
There's average for the project on both
Both
sides.
sides.
So it's total 2.5 acre average on 77.5 acres.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a question on that, because when I read it through, I mean, that was a big part of the discussion in the
It
minutes. And I had a little bit of a hard time following it. I guess I'm wondering what does that accomplish when you tie the two together to get an average? It seems to me like I don't know, in my mind, it just didn't make complete sense when you tie them both together to come up with the average.
So it's the standard we've held in the rural residential zone in the foothills. So you look at Comore-Loma, Blackhawk, those areas, in order for them to have individual septic systems instead of a central sewer system, we've required that the development maintain an average lot size of 2.5 acres. What that generally helps them with is in areas like this where the terrain is difficult, especially on the east side of the road here in the RA3 portion. There's a lot of steep ravines and stuff. Those lots, for instance, might end up being 2 10-acre lots or 3 10-acre lots because there's just not a buildable area on them, right? So what that does is it allows them to spread the density out, essentially, that if the lots over there need to be bigger and the terrain on the west side is more suitable, they're just meeting an average density instead of just saying all the lots have to be 2.5 acres, if that makes sense.
It does, and I understand the R2, that's allowed for 1 acre lots, so I think they could clear down to 1. It's fine, it seems to me like you're kind of bending the regulations in order to fit with your plan that you've had in the others to have a minimum of 2.5, right? You're using the large ones in the R3 in order to compensate for the more density in the 2, but we're allowing the 2, so I mean, it's allowed. But the wording seems odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we've held it consistently would just say there has to be a 2.5 acre average in the development. And that if they did the whole development at once, then the whole thing has to average 2.5 acres. If they do them in divisions, the divisions have to average 2.5 acres. So that's just what we've done up there consistently. That's what's in all of those decisions.
That same Johnson legacy.
Yes, that was,
Yeah, we average the density.
Between different zones.
or
It was the same zone.
That's the
It
part
was-
that's getting me a little bit, is when we're using 2 different zones to average the density.
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, it could probably apply on both sides of the road. That wouldn't really matter. It's gonna accomplish about the same thing. From, obviously, we have to consider what they can do. The developer's intent in this scenario, I believe, is 5 acre lots anyways, so that they don't have to put in a central water system, but that may change too, so.
So, well, just one more question, if I may. Why not just go R3 on the whole thing?
And they could have, the planning and zoning discussed that too, to make the whole thing RA3. And I don't know that the developer would have a problem with that, but their representative can probably speak to that better than I can.
Speak to that, Blake.
I'm gonna put my name stuff on the record. Blake Jolly with Connect Engineering, 2295 North Yellowstone Highway, Suite 6. Austin's right. Their intent this time is to do something on the larger scale. The R3 on the east was more conducive of what it was adjacent to, and then we just took the approach of as you get closer to town, you do a step down zone. So that's why we went RA2 on the west. It's more similar to what was around it, so that's why we went with the RA2. With the RA2, it does provide flexibility if something didn't happen or in the future. If they started 5 acre lots and worked their way to the west, it gave flexibility that direction, and obviously they'd have to meet the current requirements of the zone change, something of that nature, but that was the thought process behind R3, RA2.
And I will just add for the record on the RA2 side on the west, because of how the flood zone lies out throughout that whole property, it's gonna be really hard to get any small lot sizes in there. The buildable areas are so small because of the whole drainage area that, I mean, they're gonna have a challenge getting any sort of small lots in there without a huge financial lift.
The Odyssey Drive Park. Services or those on.
I believe it's a well and septic.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the original.
And the part that's in Ammon is.
and water and sewer, yeah, and rim rocks, well, and septic also.
So this is more compatible with. Correct. Wondering out loud if Ammon services could ever be extended to that.
If those properties to the west end up developing into the development that they were planning to year ago or so, that has been shot down a few times, then yes.
So that's sort of outside our.
Yeah.
Outside our window.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Questions?
Thanks for wondering.
No. Okay. Just, you don't want to make them compatible with the house there on the curb on.
That's Christensen's house.
He's the one
It's
who's
part of it.
developing.
That will be one of the lots.
So can I just ask the applicant, before we close public testimony, do you think the developer would be okay with an RA3 zone on the whole thing? You know,
I don't know, I think he could be. The only aspect is that I feel would be a deterrent to that is just future flexibility. His intent now is to be larger.
That is a difficult area. That's a little bit like that.
Broken Creek, yeah.
Yeah, Broken Creek. Difficult.
And that's really the only reason I ask is because of the floodplain there. I think we're gonna easily meet that 2.5 acre lot size requirement anyway, so I don't know that either way, it would really matter where we ended up. I just wanted your input, so.
The only thing I can see is if somebody wanted to drop the dollars.
Yeah.
And move the material to channelize the flow.
Right.
And that could create the flexibility, but that's.
It's at least worth having on the record for us to consider when we give input there. Yeah. Okay, any other input? Staff, any other questions? Okay, with that, we'll close this hearing to public testimony, take the issue under advisement.